Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sophie and today we're going to be going through part 2 of the how to remove items from Python lists, and we're going to be using the Python pop method for this. So like last lesson on using the remove method in Python lists, this will probably be quite a short video because it's kind of a simple method and really similar to the remove method actually. So I'll just go through a few examples and then you can just get on with your practice. So let's get straight into the video. We'll start by writing out the general syntax that we use when we're using the pop method. And again, it's really similar to the remove method that we went through last time. So we just have the name of the list as the first element. Then we put pop, which is the method that we're using. And then in the brackets as our parameter, we put the element number or the index of the item that we're trying to remove. So I'm just going to call this position. So that's I'll write a title for this. So this is the general syntax when using Python pop method in Python lists. Actually, you have to do, this is one thing to remember, when you're using Colab, you have to do a double new line so that you actually get it onto the next line, otherwise it just goes on the same line as your previous sentence. So interestingly, the position argument is actually optional, so you can just leave it empty, and I'll show you what happens when we do leave it empty in a moment. I'm just going to start by creating a list called my list as usual, and this time we're in a cafe. We're going to have some coffees, so we'll have an Americano. I always go for an Americano actually. Cappuccino. I don't know if I spelled cappuccino right, we'll leave it as that. I'm sorry if it's wrong. Not latte. What other drinks? Flat white. And a mocha, and I'll just add one more hot chocolate, which now makes me really want a hot chocolate. So we'll create this list, and as usual we're connecting to the kernel, and so it will just take a moment longer than usual to run this first line. Okay, so now that that has run, we will now pop an item from this list. So we're going to start with using no parameters in the brackets to start with. We're just going to do my list pop and empty parameters, and we'll see what that comes up with. Okay, so now that that has run, we will now pop an item from this list. So we're going to start with using no parameters in the brackets to start with. We're just going to do my list pop and empty parameters, and we'll see what that comes up with. Okay, so when we actually run it, it prints out the last item in the list, and that is hot chocolate. So it's actually telling us what it's going to be removing. And then when we print my list and we preview it, you can see that it has basically kept the whole list and it's just removed the last item, which is hot chocolate. And so we just have that removed. This is an interesting method actually, because none of the other Python methods tell you what it's removing when you run the method. I actually forgot that it did this, so that's quite interesting. So we'll try that one more time. We'll do mylist.pop. Empty brackets, it's told us it's going to be removing mocha, print my list again, and it has removed mocha, and we just have the 4 items left in the list. So this tells us that when we use the Python list method pop with no parameters in the parentheses, I actually don't know how to say parenthesis. I'm not sure how to say it, but in those, the brackets basically, when we have no parameters, it automatically removes the last item in the list. Okay, so what happens now then when we try using the pop method and we do include something in the brackets? I am going to say brackets from now on. So let's create the list again. Then my list pop, and So in this method, what's different about pop compared to remove is that if you remember with the remove method, you put the name of the item that we want to remove. So in fact, I'll just do this as an example first. Remove, and then we want to get rid of, say, cappuccino. And you put the name, it will remove that, and my list then becomes the same list, but we don't have cappuccino in there anymore. So what if we try doing that, but with the pop method? Let's see what actually happens. It comes up with an error. So the important difference between pop and remove is that remove accepts strings as the argument, or not necessarily strings, it could be an integer, it could be a float, but it's the actual item in the list. So we're referencing what the item is, not the variable name, but the actual variable itself. We're not trying to remove the element, whereas the pop method actually removes, you specify the element. So this is what happens if you have like a really long list and you want to remove, say, like the second last item. You might not know what that is. You don't want to have to go in, index that item, and then remove it using mylist.remove. You want to just straight away remove that second last item. So you just put mylist.pop, and let's say we want to remove the second last item, and in that case, that is the -2 element. And in our list that we have here, it tells you anyway. But looking at this, that's the -1 element. Then we have -2 as mocha, and here it tells you that's mocha. So my list and mocha has gone from that list. Let's just try one more. So my list.pop. Let's remove the first element, which is latte. Yeah, there we go, latte, and then print my list. And we just have 3 items in that list now. So I'm just going to create my list one more time. So we're going to try a couple more things, and one of them is removing more than one item in the list. So let's say we want to remove cappuccino, and we want to remove flat white. So that's the first and third element in the list. Let's see what happens. So here we go. Interestingly, it says the same as what happened when we tried putting 2 arguments into the remove method. It says it only takes 1 argument, and we gave 2. So we can't put 2 elements to remove. It will only work if we put 1. So if I remove 3 from this list, also sorry if you can hear the building work outside. I basically need the good lighting to film, but also there's building work all day outside when it is light. So sorry. So here we go. This is telling us it's removing cappuccino. We have my list. The final thing that I just want to go through is what happens when we have a list of integers. So we'll just call it int list. This works the same for integers or strings, but I think integers is probably a better example at this point because we obviously have more confusion here between whether it's removing the index of the item or whether it's removing the actual item. And this is where the difference between pop and remove is actually really helpful. So let's create that list. Let's remove the 4th index because we have the number 4 in here, and so it could be quite confusing. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's number 45. So 45 should be removed from the list, but we want to make sure that it's not going to try and remove the number 4 instead of the 45 that we want to remove. So we'll just run that, and there we go, it's telling us it's going to remove the number 45. So if we had done that with the remove method, and I'm just going to recreate this list again. With the remove method, if we say remove 4, and then we print int list again, it has removed the number 4. So we use the remove method to call the name of the item that we're trying to remove, and we use the pop method to specify and remove the index of the item that we want to remove. So I think that's pretty much all I had to show you today. So I'm going to stop it there. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any requests of more videos to make, I can do more complex stuff as well. I'm just kind of working through at the moment, going from lists, probably going on to dictionaries once we've gone through this, and then on to getting more and more advanced as the number of videos increases. But if you do want to just see like random things, like even introduction to machine learning, that kind of thing, let me know, and I can make a video on that as well. So as usual, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.